Really meet you, James, but I can control everything now.
Ah, here we go.
So look at the people. They're all going, what in crazy hell is going on?
Five, four, three, two, one. You're live with Neve.
Live and let die. Live and let die. I got something in my eye. Hello, and I'm back with Mandy Shee sitting in on the monologue that already happened, but you're back. And for those of you who have telekinetic powers, you probably heard it. It was a hummer, man. So here you are, live from the northeast side of the North American continent, out of New York City, New Jersey, and all points within the great state of New Jersey. And for all of you people in Norway and wherever else you like to join in from us, we have a great show today. You got me. You got Mandy Shee, the vocalist for Twisted Ginger, and I don't know about you, but if you look at her, she's got red hair. You got to watch out for those types. I know for sure. I have a daughter. At any rate, we're here, and we have a really cool guest on. This is a friend of Dave Looks, Mandy, and
Nice.
they're kind of cohorts. They do various projects together, and Dave James rather, has acted kind of as an executive producer, and I've only talked to him for 2 minutes. But I could tell he's just our kind of guy. He was like, he was more, I think he's got a higher body temperature than I do as far as like being hyper and excited and happy. No, the guy's
boy.
He's great. He was enthusiastic, which you know how it is. You get a guest and like I call him and I go, hi, this is Live with Neve. Would you like to come on the show? Maybe. Or I get the sling-blade fella, and he's like, if you pay me in French fried potatoes, I might come on there and do something with you. I don't have to lay with a man, though. So, do you ever ask your boyfriend to talk like that?
No, hell no. Oh, my God.
No. I knew the answer. Remember, I always never ask a question if I don't know the answer, but... Okay, now that I've horrified her, I've been getting in trouble lately with the show. They found that there was occasionally I just might say something that they didn't like, and they've done different things. They were literally
Scientologists again?
I don't know, but I just sitting here doing my shit, and then all of a sudden, you see that shit? Oh my God, I'm all fucked up now. Okay, you can stop now anytime. God, I mean, it's getting a little rough on me. Holy shit. Like on a version of Cops, man. What'd I do? For anybody who's never been tased, I can tell you, like a lot of guys, I did some dumb things as a young person. And one of those was allow my friend to hit me with his taser because I didn't think it was shit. I was like, bring it on. Let me just tell you, man, I didn't get to 62 by being stupid, but man, that was a stupid idea. And he lit me up good, too. I was just like, oh! And then I'm still laying on the ground going, man, that really sucked. He's like, how was that? I said, give me that thing. I was ready to shock him back, but it was just my crazy self when I was a young guy, and I thought, it can't be that bad. He also had a very ferocious cat. And, I love my animals. I would never even think of tasing a cat that I own or anybody else's unless it was hanging on my face or something.
Yeah, unless you had...
With my luck, I'd tase myself while the cat was ripping my flesh. It'd be like something you want to make what are those...
pass through the cat onto you, and the cat would be just fine, and you'd be all
It would be great. People would stop and videotape. It's like when people are kicking somebody's ass, does anybody go over and help someone? No. They get out their fucking camera, and they're like, duh. I mean, I'm old school. You know, if I saw some old lady getting beat on by two guys, I'm going to go kick him in the head,
That's
man.
right.
And that's just the way it goes. I'm not putting up with that crap. But, okay, folks, so we're starting the show a little weird, but we've got about a few minutes before the break. And in looking at the news today, you know, I always try to find the best in news for our show. Kanye and Adidas. Poor Kanye, man. The guy's just, he's like a nice bunch of fellas. You never know which one you're going to get on any given day, but all it says is Kanye and Adidas. Money, misconduct, and the price of appeasement. The backstory is he got ixnayed from the deal for just being Kanye in some unusual fashion. He pissed somebody off. I can't imagine that happening, but he's got his girlfriend. He went over to Italy and was riding around in a gondola. Well,
oh, yeah, I saw this.
Did you see this? And I was just thinking to myself, the poor gondolier is sitting there. Next thing he knows, he's on the front page of the world's news. People are like, and I'm just going to say this, you know, I've been a pretty wild and crazy guy in my life. But first thing, in Venice, in Italy in general, they're all Roman Catholics. Doing shit like that is frowned upon, unless you're in your proper location, like a bedroom or your hotel. So he's riding around in the gondola. Now, there's not like many guys haven't thought of that, but he's just kind of a douche, man. He's like the ultra douche.
It was like, well, you see her legs there, and it's like, there's just like a little.
It's like, no,
like
really?
Yeah, it's like.
You know, come on, man. It's like you're already reviled.
You're corny
And
asshole.
you know what? The worst part is I feel sorry for his girlfriend because she's like some attachment. He bought a new poodle for the month, and he's walking it around, showing her off. But, you know,
it seems like that, yeah.
doesn't it seem like anybody that gets near the Kardashians just turns into some psycho person? Oh, look who's here.
Well,
our buddy.
Sure. Oh, hey, Dave.
Look at that. He's
How's it
sending me
going?
money, man. I love that. Dave is the man. Yeah, baby. So, what's talking about that? I'm going to be doing a little read for Dave. I'm reading a book that he's got going. So, hence he's sending me a little money. But we also, I think we were talking about, in fact, I know we were talking about giving you some work.
Oh, nice. That's
And
what's up.
just yapping, you know, so.
Oh, I could do that.
Yeah, you got the shirt and the t-shirt and the hat and the whole bit. You're great. So, here's a good one for you. This is always the news. Let's see, we have another 7 minutes. AMC, the guy who runs AMC Cinemas, is like a guy. He's at least my age. He's way too old to not know better than this shit. He's sexting a ballerina who's like right at the age of. You might want to stay away from her. Maybe like within a few months of 18. He's just an icky old guy. I hate to say it, but he's just a creeper, you know? Mm-hmm. And he was sending her shots, and then apparently she wasn't impressed because now this guy's life, I'm not saying anything, but it's imploding. And for something so stupid, I kind of have to laugh at that. There's some justice in the universe for people who are just total tool bags.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really, guy, you know better. And he's been running. Yeah. You know that if the guy did this now, how many other times has he done this crap and got away with it?
That's true.
You know, because that's just the tip of the iceberg, usually with these creatures. So then we have Elon's X is tilting right and sinking. Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. Elon has so much money, he really doesn't care, number one. And the fact is, if you can go on there, there's a lot of obnoxious people on both sides of the aisle, but they get to speak unfiltered to each other. Yeah, I like to hear people argue it out. As a salesman, I love nothing more than a back and forth. Let's slug this transaction out, but I'm walking out of here with money in my pocket, and you're going out of here with something you really want that's good. So, I don't know. I don't buy that kind of stuff. I buy this story more. Spanish clergy sexually abused over 200,000 children. Now, notice they didn't even put a timeline here to tell us. See, you got to remember, journalists are, first off, sorry guys, but most of you are really stupid. You took communications and you sucked. You didn't get an engineering school because you couldn't, or med school or dentist school or anything else that's of major value. And I'm sorry I'm picking on you if that's your career path, but just go away. At any rate, we've got a 91-year-old barber opened up a shop. I have no idea why it's in the national news, but he's just too happy to quit, he said. And I can dig that. If I'm 91, I'm not opening a barber shop, but, you know, I might open a skydiving center or something really wacky that I can go up and freak my kids out. Well, you know how Dad is. He's always been a little off his rocker, putting it mildly.
Yeah.
So we have 1 minute to go, and this is the last really great news story of the morning. Ohio woman serial killer allegedly met men for sex before fatally drugging them. All I can say, we got my friend James out there. James, keep an eye out on these ladies. You know, you're an actor, man. You gotta have to be careful. And in LA, you don't know what you're getting into.
Well, in the world, you don't know. There's
you don't. It's like, look at that
Scientologists,
crazy bastard.
reptilians, you know, aliens. You
Oh.
don't even know. You don't
And
know.
then you just got the white trash who are off their meds. That asshole up in Maine. They still haven't caught the guy.
Meth heads, you know.
Oh, well, you know, Maine's known for, I mean, the thing is, I spent a lot of time in Lewiston. I used to go up there every summer, and my friends had a cabin, and we'd go up. It was just so much fun. Go up there and just go. I would run out with a pail and wave down the lobster boat. I'd been told this forever, that you could go out and when you see a lobster boat go by. So one day, I'm sitting there, and I see this boat, like, way out there. And I go and grab 2 buckets, and I'm like waving them like I'm trying to land a jet on the aircraft carrier. And the guy starts beelining over. I was just like so stunned that it actually worked. He pulls up, he's like, how many you want? I'm like so stunned. I go, I got to run in the house and get some money. How much are they? I was getting 4 like 2-pound lobsters for $20. So I bought 8 of them.
Wow.
And then
Nice.
the funny part is
You
I
had a
have
little
video of me running up this wind around dock to get back up to the house because it was up on the bluff. And I'm going, grab my roll. It's on the bedstand. Quick, the guy's out here with the fucking lobsters. And so it was great fun. So she had video of me like running back down there. I was just like a 12-year-old kid. And then, of course, I had to have lobster races on the porch because my old family restaurant, they had lobsters to serve. And I used to do that all the time. And I don't know, I still like doing it. I'm just a 12-year-old at heart. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to get on here and talk some shit with James and whoever else cares to
Nice.
join us today. And we go to the brand page. Let's see. I just want to check this one. This is called Heavily Synthesized Moans. This is not a commercial, people. Sounds like a didgeridoo with somebody doing ecstasy on it, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
I did a session once where the guy just insisted on having his didgeridoo, and I put a mic up in the drum booth and started doing it along with him.
Nice.
You could not really tell the difference. I hate to say
No.
it, but I don't think we'll hear a Bach sonata from the Aboriginal
No.
didgeridoo. But
My
it is
brother
cool.
has a didgeridoo. And it's like at family gatherings, like if we have, you know, Thanksgiving, everything, it's like the didgeridoo comes out and he's just...
I think it's
such a
great.
funny thing. Yeah. I tell him he should take it out to shows. I was like, he needs
Yeah.
to take it out, you know?
There's some songs by Midnight Oil. You remember that band?
Yeah.
Bon, tan, tan.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, da, dun, 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 ba, dun, 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 ba. Great stuff. Well, enough of that. We gotta make some money here. So here's Carlton Wilson, and I hope you like his stuff. Buy it. It's good music. He's a musical genius, and here it goes.
There's some changes headed, like the Gulf Stream rising, like some gale that's been blowing off this wild bird island shore. And I can't say where, and I don't know when, but some old door's been opened in the restless shade. Poor man sagging cigarette takes the subway home. Rich man folding old regret steps on the rundown below.
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
Like a melting flake of snow this year. I won't be sad to see
Darren Flynn. You'll never guess,
Hi.
but he's from Ireland.
I'm Darren F. Flynn, a singer-songwriter
Hi,
from
Darren.
Ireland, and I'm on Live with Neve.
We're glad you're here. I love this guy. The ladies tell me they love him too, but what do I know? All right. We're back.
Yay!
Well, let's bring our friend on here. James is coming to us from a... I love the backdrop. I mean, you almost...
Hey, you
almost
get
look
what
like
you
you're,
get, right?
You're
You
in
get
your
what you
underground
get.
lair, man. I'm telling you, no, I'm teasing you. Great to meet you.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
great to
James.
meet you. Finally, Sid. After reading you in the story, it's great to meet you finally.
Well, I guess I read my part and I played, and I have to say, when he wrote the last bit of it, I came back from the grave, I was happy.
Yeah.
I thought he wrote me out. I was kind of bummed out.
Well, he rolls the dice, and whatever happens, which is
Yeah,
great.
but it was fun.
That's the way
And-
it should be, you know
well,
what
you
I mean?
know, if we go to record that, I had worked up the best voice. It was so creepy.
Oh, there
I
you go.
purposely made it
Yeah.
something so that every woman who watched it would think I was the evilest man they've ever met. And really, I'm just a big, handsome, happy fuzzball, right? I'm
There
like a
you go.
beagle. Just
Yep.
throw the ball and I'll chase it. What can I tell you? You know, I'm easy amused. So tell me, how did you first meet up with Dave? And by the way, this is my co-host, Mandy.
Hi, Mandy. How we doing?
Hey, how
Good
you
to meet you.
doing?
Nice to
Same
meet you.
Here. Same
I heard a
here.
lot from you guys from Dave, but I met Dave through one of the young ladies that I do my acting with.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got together and we hit it off, and you know, we talk all the time. He had me in one of his books called Cruising Cancun. I did a voiceover for one of those, and it was amazing. I mean, he's got some great stories. I mean,
Oh, the stories are great. He's got such an imagination. And
I'm telling you, it's like I read him and I'm going like, man, this is on a professional level. I mean, yeah, it could be
hey, listen,
tweaked here and there,
it
but
really
wow,
is.
it's right there.
If you go to a publisher, no matter what you do, they're going to sit and tweak it a little bit. But
course.
you know what? Who cares? I always say
Yeah.
get the money, and we'll argue with them later.
But you know, if you can go around those publishers, you know, do it
Yeah.
yourself, which is one thing we're looking into. You know, we can get it out there, but it's tough. You know, it's a tough situation.
It's
but
a
we keep
tough
going.
nut
I
to
keep
crack.
going forward. Keep going, man. Don't stop.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I have right now, it's a weird synchronicity. I have 3 or 4 of my friends all doing books or have just done one. And so now I know a whole bunch about how to do one and what a pain in the ass it is and how much money it costs.
Oh, yeah.
Because to get a good book pressed, it can cost you like $40-50 depending on what the book's about and the cover and the weight of the cover. I have some books here that I bought, like Leland Sklar's book of people flipping him the bird. has a padded cover, which I thought would make a perfect drum pad.
Yep.
A pad.
Drum pad.
So I'm sitting there on the air playing on it, and I realized I just poked a hole in Leland's face. I was like, God damn it. So I recommended that even though it's a great book, it's not meant for drum padding, although I'm going to give him a spec. So next time it will be the next printing. We're going to get
There
the
you go.
ballistic
There you
grade.
go.
But it was really
Awesome.
fun. So have you published other stuff before? Or is this kind of
No. I have been trying to, but you try to get the publishers, and they always kick it down. They always kick it back. So I just keep going. I mean, it's like when I started acting. I started acting 6 years ago, and I got people going, "Oh, you need this, you need that." Well, I started managing myself, and I've been in like 7 movies. I've worked with 3 producers, and so I just keep pushing myself. So I say, well, if I can do that in movies, I can do that. I just got to find the people that'll publish, write the book, and then I can put it out. I can go
Absolutely.
to the big companies and say, hey, listen to this. I want to put these on your shelf.
Right,
And that's
right.
the way I'm heading forwards with it until
Mm-hmm.
someone recognizes and go, oh, wow, let's get in touch with these gentlemen and see what we can do.
You know, some of those were so good that I think, in fact, I have had an artist on he worked for Marvel and DC both. He's over in London. He's more crazy than I am, but I love this guy to death, man. He's a complete lunatic, but a good way, but he can draw anything. I used to have him on the show, just like I'd give him a segment every month or so. The guy, I mean, I'm a loose cannon, but a couple of times I just was like, and I don't, we're pretty free about what we say, but a few times he just like put the turd in the punch bowl, and I'm like, oh man,
There you go. Yeah.
moderate it a little bit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You're scaring the audience. I had people writing me afterwards going, that guy's like insane. Who is he? I said, yeah, but look at his drawings. He would come on and he would do a drawing during one segment, 13 minutes.
Wow.
It was amazing. So what I'm getting at is hooking him up with Dave. This guy's comic books that he prints, they're expensive. They're glossy cover, they're big. Everything that costs more money, they've put into it. Acid-free pages, the whole shebang. And I think those two would make an amazing graphic novel because the reason is Dave writes better than my friend does. If you're watching the show, don't worry about it. You got other skills. You just need an editor.
Yeah.
And I'm just laying it out. You believe me, you'd rather hear it from me, dude. Somebody in LA or New York will tell it to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they're not going to be as nice about it, and they won't chuckle. And, I've had them sit and discuss my teeth, the gap there. I said, Madonna's got a gap in her teeth. I don't see any problem with selling records. So then he looked at me and said, well, you don't look like Madonna. I said, no, I don't.
Just grow your hair out. That's all.
Well, yeah, believe it's pretty long.
There it is.
I have to camouflage it, If my mom watches the show, maybe she'll think I cut it. But here I am. I'm 62 years old. She looked at me at Christmas. She goes, are you going to cut your hair? I said, eventually. And like right now, I'm kind of at the point because got to go on the road. So I'm deciding whether to cut it and be all GQ like I used to be. Or just let my freak flag fly. It's a country band.
Let
you know what I mean?
Fly. The hell, you've been doing it for how long?
It's a couple of years now. It's hard, though. It's like you got a great stash, man. And I'll tell you, I can't grow one. It just drives me psycho, and it starts to itch. And, And then I put chunks of my food so I can eat them later. I do that on purpose.
Yucky.
That's what happens with the beard.
Yeah, like I had a couple of gummies up under it. And only medicinal ones, of course, not the standard gluten made, whatever. They make it out of glue from the glue factory. They're horrible things. So getting back to you, and how long have you known Dave?
Couple of years, couple going on, I think 2.5 years now.
Okay. And
because I would like to put some of his stuff in movies, not in the books, in movies, put them online, because that's,
right.
That's where I'm heading, with it.
Mm-hmm.
But, we find a guy to put the book out there, because most people, you don't go to the store and buy a book like you do before. You go on the computer and you buy that computer that has all the books on it.
Absolutely.
And that's another section that you've got to deal with to get it on there. So
right, and it's problematic. Can you just for our guests, can you kind of elaborate just briefly, like what you're going through when you try to do a book? Because I know what happens, but I've been watching people do it, and I'm going, holy crap, there's a lot more to it than I thought.
Well, when Dave writes the stuff, I'll take it, I'll look at it, and I'll do changes or I think I'll send it back to Dave. And when I would send it out to somebody to edit it, they would come back and go, no, they want like a Christian book. No swearing, no this, no that. And I'm going like, no, but and then you got to.
It's a graphic novel. Without it takes away all this craziness.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's what it's all about. And like he wrote one, the crazy boyfriend or the bad boyfriend, and
that's me.
And it's like if they
I'm dad.
They wanted half the stuff out of there. I don't know what you would call it. You call it the sissy boyfriend. I don't. It just they took everything out that made it what it was. So it's just a matter of.
It's always people who are suits. They're civilians, as I call them. They got a little BA and they got some shitty job they hate. And editing is a pain in the ass. And unless you really like it, you're going to be sitting there. I hate editing. I hate editing audio. When I write quick. I get a big red pen and cut stuff out, but I move quick. Because otherwise, you lose that momentum. Everybody's got their own songwriting thing.
Oh, sure.
I'm just like, we're not walking out of here until we get at least the first chorus, and we're going to nail this thing. And I'll be writing new verses while they're trying to figure it out, And
when I go to an editor, the first thing I say to them after I read it said, did it capture your interest? Did it capture your attention? And they go, yeah. I go, why do you want to change it? Because he's got to answer to somebody. And it's like, okay.
It's true. Yeah, and it really comes down to having a publisher. Like, think about Stephen King. His first book was The Stand, which to me is still the best book he ever wrote. In fact, I read it during the coronavirus epidemic, which was just great fun. I'm sitting in the house reading it, looking out the windows.
Yeah.
The traffic's down a little today. But at any rate, it seems like such a process. And I know there's a very tight margin for, to get your investment back. The ROI it's hard. It's a lot. And the people who buy don't get it because I know I've seen them. My friend wrote a book about Warren Zevon and John Bonham, and both of those books cost like $30, but they're Penguin or Random House,
Yeah.
and even with a deal like that, as usual, the creators get such a small percentage compared to the marketing that the book company gets. I mean, you really give away a lot, and I don't think in this day and age, their monopoly is going to change in the next.
No, not anytime soon. Not that I can see.
Well,
not anytime soon.
But I'll tell you, with AI coming out, there's a lot of things you'll be able to cut out that they do, including editing.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not the kind of guy who's going to go on and write lyrics using AI, because I didn't go through school in English and have that
That's
bitchy
right.
English
Exactly.
teacher I had who made me a decent writer. I hated her, man. First year of school, because she knew everything about me. She goes, I complained about a grade. She goes, you think you're Tolstoy, man. I know you do, Neil. She says, I think, you do good work, but I weight my grades. And the guy I was bitching about was a big Studley lacrosse player. And he could like A-E-I-O-U. He was dumb. And he writes this thing about like John F. Kennedy that I would have written in second grade. And he got an A, and I remember looking at the grade in the hallway, and I had a low C, which just pissed me off. And I said to her, so of course she had me pegged. I walked in and she goes, I know you can do way better work because I see it when you do it. And then she says, this looks like something you threw together last night and you and your girlfriend edited it and then bring it in here. Do you think you're going to get an A for that? I'm sitting in my head going, oh shit, she just totally reamed me out, man. I'm like getting my ass kicked. And I didn't want to look at her and go, that does sound surprisingly what I was doing last night at about 7 o'clock in study hall. Sitting with my girlfriend and a couple other people. We were all doing the same shit, trying to get our report done.
That's right. And it's what she thinks.
But
this is what you did with your girlfriend. You expect to get an A.
Yeah.
I do. But how did you like it? Did you? And it's what, and that's what I run into a lot. It's what they perceive it as. You bring it forwards, and they go, no, this, that, and that's the same thing. And it was, how long ago was that in school? Oh my God, years ago.
And you have to remember too, a lot of those people who become talent agents within a book company, they're frustrated artists.
Oh.
It's like a lot of them have like 5 books manuscripted that just suck. And I hate to say that, but there's some of those people who end up blowing up in the industry because they're good. But there's also a lot of really, it's like everything. The Kruger-Dunning effect. We all do it. We all assume we're better than we are to a degree. I always say, though, if you're going to be in entertainment, you better be the best you can be. And you got to be like, you got to push the envelope, man. Otherwise, you'll just be boring and,
Oh, yeah, you have to. That's what I do. That's what I do with my acting. I get out there, I keep pushing. Matter of fact, it started out with me, I think it was 8 or 10 lines, and now I'm up to 6 pages. I got I'm Italian, and the guy wants me to be a mobster. The last 2 movies I've been in, I'm a mobster. So I love it. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. You're here. We're amongst friends. We should drink vino and eat stump grapes, man. I'm telling you.
Vino, cigars, no big deal.
All right. Well, I've got my personal brand. It's a hand-rolled special, and it's medicinal, and I feel great. You live in Boston, eh?
Now, well, I grew up in Boston. I live in New Hampshire right now.
Oh, where do you live?
I live up in Sutton, New Hampshire, right outside of Concord. I moved up there because it was nice. I built a log home. It's nice and quiet all the way around.
Oh, excellent.
Nice.
And I could do my thing. And then, when I became a certain age, you'll say, when I became 60, I'm 66.
I'm 62.
When I became 60, I said, I want to do something. Now, when I was in high school, I was in plays. When I was in the military, I was in plays because we were overseas and there wasn't a lot of family. So we'd make our own Christmas plays. We just got the VHS at the time, and everybody would play a part. Right. So I liked that when I came out. And when I first came out, the first one I did was Hocus Pocus. I was Billy Butcherson in the grave, but I wasn't union. So I got bounced from, I was non-union, and they had to put a union guy in there. And I liked it. I got that bug. And so I said, okay, so I got a job, I got married, I did my thing. I said, okay, now we're 60 years old, let's do movies now. So
I think that's great because, you're not stuck. And a lot of people think people are 60 years old. I had some kid the other day on the internet call me a boomer. I was like, yeah, I may be, but remember, like, some of us went to engineering school, and that cell phone you have, we built it, and you didn't help at all. So you're eco-friendly, but that cell phone's like got cobalt. I mean, Look, I don't know anybody who wants to destroy the environment. Certainly
No.
not me.
No.
But I hear people are like, "Oh, this Republican's going to burn down the Rocky Forest National Park or whatever." And I'm like, it's just the back and forth of the pendulum. They're the most mediocre people, and they end up leading us. And I go, "What the hell? Where'd they find this freak show?" I don't care.
Yeah.
And they're on both sides. Some of these people are so heinous, I wouldn't even sit down and have a beer with them. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
on both
Yeah,
sides, they're just
Yeah.
like. And you know who it
Yeah.
is because there's enough of them that are decent in both parties that you could make some progress of some kind.
Oh yeah.
I mean, myself, I'm in the band, like I'm ruthless. If I'm producing a band and they have one of those guys who's always vetching at the rest of them, I'll tell them go home. You can't be in the session.
Got it.
You're sitting here ragging on your guitar player. I'm trying to get this guy happy and relaxed. I got some doofus over here, usually the bass player, no offense, but they're over there. I'm like, you didn't even learn to play 6 strings. Just shut up, okay? Go home. No, I'm kidding, but I think it, and I'm pretty harsh about like that. I want to create a nice vibe when we're recording.
Oh, of course.
And I don't want to be yelling at anybody, but sometimes I had a heavy metal band once show up all in their full regalia, and they're only in their 20s. And I looked at them and I laughed. I'm like, oh my God, this is the biggest day of their fucking life.
Yeah.
And I went out there and I did everything I could to make sure they had a really happy, great first recording experiences. Because most first recording experiences, like losing your virginity, it's over quick, and you just wonder what the hell happened. And people yell at you afterwards, maybe your parents or whatever. But going in the studio for me the first time was like so traumatic. I had 5 guys doing what I'm telling you I throw people out for. We come from a gig at 2 a.m. to record 3 songs for a radio show that was like having a battle of the bands.
Yeah.
Which we were one of the winners, by the way. One of the 3 made it. But that night, it was so brutal. Guitar players, he yells, I don't need some young punk telling me how to run my session. I'm like 18 and just sitting there. I'm like, fuck you. He turn around. But I persevered through it. And it's like, I think, what about you when you did your acting thing, your acting debut? Were you shitting bricks?
Oh yeah. Well, even my first one, I just stood still. I played an angel, and the guy said, "Go stand over there. Go stand over there." But it was still, And then when I got my first speaking role, yeah, nervous. I mean, nervous beyond. I mean, I would drive from New Hampshire to West Virginia to do my the film.
Lord have mercy.
You're nervous. You're driving down. You go.
I'd be nervous in West Virginia that it might turn into like the zombie apocalypse. They're all the
yeah,
meth heads and shit.
Yeah.
I used to travel through there. I've been all through
Yeah,
there.
me too.
Fairmont, where Morganton, and then up through Pennsylvania, up to Erie. Oh, I used to have this grueling trip that would take like 2 months to go all the way over the middle and the East Coast and back.
Yeah.
Every state from Chicago over, we would.
Oh, really?
crisscross.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was nice at the time because I was young and didn't mind being out, doing that
Right.
stuff. But God, it was 20 years ago, horrible in West Virginia. And the last time I drove through, it hasn't gotten any better. It's just a
Well, the
horrible
places
place.
I visit seem to be pretty good.
Yeah.
They seem to be. You can walk the streets at night.
Oh, yeah, stuff
when
like
I was
that.
growing up like Boston, you could walk the streets at night. You could hang out, but there are places in there you just don't. They tell when I go down, the hotel guys don't walk.
You
over
don't
the-
look like you're from Southie, boy. Come here. We're going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wicked fucked up. I went to school in Massachusetts, and my roommate was from Peabody, as they say.
Peabody.
Yeah. I remember
Oh,
I'm going to Peabody, telling my parents. My friend's like, no, you're going to Peabody. He talked like you. You got a great accent, man. I love it. I really do.
Well, that's how the second producer picked me up. He liked my accent.
That's
He
why
liked
I'd pick
he
you up,
liked
too.
my
'cause-
accent. He goes, "Hey, I
and
can
it-
use you in a movie." And I've been playing with him. And then one of the young ladies that I did the first movie with, her dream was to be a producer, and she became one. And she needed an Italian hitman. So here I am. I said, I'll be right there. So we've done 2 movies with her.
I think I
And,
dated her once.
Yeah, the first day. It's great. I love being in front of the camera. It's amazing.
Oh yeah,
I love
It's-
it. I
If,
love
you
it.
know,
You can
I
be
can
who
tell.
you want.
It's just like playing on stage. Like she's
Oh,
the
yeah.
lead singer. We're all hams, man. I'm
Yeah.
a drummer who will not be ignored. I'm not hiding at the back of the stage.
No.
I'm up front. Because
The
I fronted
drummers
a
up front,
band.
as far as
So
I'm concerned, they got all them drums. Be loud. Be the
I have
one
my
in
bass
charge.
player stand right next to me so I can whack him or so he can whack me. It's really terrible.
Here you go.
One night we were playing and I was singing and he just bonked me with his bass. Not because I was flat, which immediately I thought, oh man, I must have gone flat or something. But I'm usually right on. I turned around, I looked at him, flipped him off, and I said, what was that for? Just because. I was like, you big bastard, freaking Welshman, man. I'm going to kick your ass.
All. Hey, you know,
But
that's what it's all about, you know?
yeah,
But
it's having fun. And, you know,
Yeah.
if you're a
Going
ham.
out, having fun and doing your thing. You got to keep focused on what you're doing, and that's what I'm doing with all this stuff. I got little avenues, and I go from one to the other, I found it up here. There's a writer, and he does. So I'm gonna talk to him this coming. I got an appointment Tuesday with him. Go to his house. I'm gonna show him what we got, what we're doing, and see what he can do for me. So. But I just
Tell you, man, we've got to
first,
bring the
all
road
kind of
show,
ahead,
go up
you
to
know?
Vermont and do this, you know, live up there, man. Up in the,
I like-
I almost went to school there, to the White Mountain School. Are you familiar with that?
Yep. Oh yeah.
I didn't go, and it was like I was kind of bummed out because it really was just the view from there was unbelievable.
Very
but
nice.
then I went to Darrow, which is down in it's New Lebanon, New York. It's a big Shaker village, beautiful place.
I've heard of it. Yes.
And, you know, it was great. I mean, it's like going to college 4 years early. So hence I grew up, and it was
No matter
so
where you
weird.
go to college, it was great.
Yeah. Well,
I went to Cape Cod Community College. It was great. I went for 2 years. I had a great time. Well, you know.
Hey, you know, I went to Full Sail, same kind of thing, you know, just trying to learn how to engineer. And it was so helpful that I had a crappy Commodore 64 that I would sequence music with. It was the most shit music. It sounded like a ping pong. Bing, boo. But when I got up there and I had this huge $120,000 synclavier, which I was trained as an operator on, it was the first thing that's like what we all have in our computer now. Synthesis, recording, and sampling. All in one thing. And it had thousands of amazing presets. Think of the Yes album. Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Yeah.
All those those
Yeah.
orchestral stabs.
those little
And this is in
things,
'92. They let me loose in that room the first time alone, and then I bribed a kid that I could stay his hour. I gave him $50 because I wanted to finish this music. I was so excited, and
There you
then
go.
I played it the next day, and the guy goes, "You did that?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "You got somebody else to do that." I said, "No, I didn't." That's pissed me off, man. I was in there for
That's
4
right.
hours, you know. But it's great.
And it's what they think. They didn't know that you went to college for that, or you enjoyed
Well, no, this
doing
was
that.
in college. The teacher at first looked at me sideways, but you know what happened eventually is I became an assistant every time that guy
Oh, there
needed
you
somebody.
go. Yeah.
I told him, man, anytime you need a grunt, or as we affectionately call people, we call them love slaves, which
Yeah.
the first time somebody says, "Oh, we have a new love slave," and you're an engineer and you walk in, you're like, what kind of place am I going into? What are these people up to, you know? But eventually you go from that to where we call them squid. So it's just the way it is. And we
That's the
also
way
used to
it is, yeah.
play Spinal
That's the way it
Tap.
is.
When we get new engineers in after 8 weeks, we would train them in all things, how to coil a cable, shit like this. And we'd have beer, pizza, and Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
And that I told them all. I gave a thing about communications with musicians, and usually you have to be gentle, and people are fragile sometimes, or they're tough and crazy. But you got to really be a little psychologically savvy to keep everybody happy during the project. I do that mostly with the bass players by poking fun at them, as you've noticed.
That's why it gets in the back of the head every once in a while, right?
Well, right, but that's what friends are for, you know. I mean, it's like having a brother, you know. So tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years acting?
5 years. Oof, that's I don't look that far ahead. I think what
That's
I'm
okay.
in a year. In a year, I'm hoping to get something, a couple of things, find an editor, get a couple of things of Dave's going, and get myself into some, movies, commercials, whatever. Just keep going the way I'm going because I enjoy what I'm doing. So,
Well, if you have your portfolio, your EPKs, send it to me because I'm always looking for the same kind of gigs. And,
yeah.
if I found something good for any of us, I'd say, let's go try it. All they can do is fire us if we're no good.
That's all. The
I mean-
answer's always no until you ask.
And you know what? I always assume the answer is yes, because that's just my hypersensitive. They're always going to say yes. We're going to go to a break real quick. We'll be right back. Thanks. You're watching Live with Neve. And we have James Luca and Mandy Shee and myself, the guy with the weird name.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a minute, people.
Hey there, it's Kevin Sorbo here, and you lucky, lucky, lucky people, you are live. You're live with Nev, or Neve or Neve. I don't know. I can't say the dude's name. Anyway, you're on live with him, so I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good thing.
All right. A little Leonard Cohen by the Neve Project. And I just was sitting here and I had to show this to everybody because it's Halloween weekend.
There you go.
Isn't that cool card? Handmade by one of our favorite guests.
There you go. Nice.
And she used to work for the greeting card company in New York, designing back in the 60s, all those little
Awesome.
sparkled. But I mean, look at this. She drew it by hand, which always freaks me out because
Yeah, that's kick-ass.
I mean, I could just do cartoons of like myself and John Lennon, but
That's excellent.
but not like this. She's just amazing, all by hand. Freaks me out. Anyway, Susan Fine, you're such a sweetheart, and I save every one of these. This will be the third one I've received from her. Well, you're a lovely lady, and thank you for watching. It's really sweet of you to do that. And we haven't seen her around because she's waiting on her new phone, and so she's not on the internet. Of course, she has a phone at home, but it's a landline.
Yeah.
She's an older woman, and so I call up and ask her husband, "Hey, it's Eugene. Let me talk to Susan." He's like, "Who are you?" "I'm the guy from the radio show." She's like, "Okay." We actually had her come on and do some acting. I'll probably break some of the clips out sometime where she was our complaint department. I couldn't get her to do my bit, the rent-a-yenta, where you could rent a yenta to come and annoy your friends or get you out of, like, you could have a girl you could rent and we could like have the yenta come over and, you know, at any rate, she didn't like the idea. So I'm like, I got to punt, you know, or do whatever. And so I just said, well, you're just going to be the complaint lady then. How's that work? And she was funny. The first few times it was so funny just because she was green. Mm-hmm. And the outtakes were better than what we were trying to make her funny in. So I ran the outtakes because they were funny as hell. Oh. You can see me and Julie getting kind of a little exasperated, but not. I was just like, all right, cake 10, you know, it's like, kill me now. Tell me, what do you think? Do you like Dave's music? Did you know about his music or his literary skills first?
I didn't know about his music in the beginning. It was his writing that, you know, got me into it. And then I learned about his music. And when he, you know, puts it on, I listen to it. And I'm going like, you know, I don't listen to it a lot because I got my slots where I'm going, you know, right. I try to, but it started with a particular story he wrote, which I liked it. We started talking back and forth. So I said, well, let me see, you know, let's go around these guys. Let's see if we can do it on my own. Because, I explained to him once again, being as an actor, doing it on my own. Like, I just saw Kevin Sorbo on the commercial. I did a show with him. I did a show with, I did a show with
a super nice guy.
Oh, he's amazing.
I mean, my co-hostess or whatever at the time tracked him down. I had no idea. She kept telling me she was going to get him on the show, and then it just went away. So I figured when she gets him booked, she'll tell me and we'll get him on. She secretly had gotten him to do a birthday greeting, which was nice, and a couple of others. So that was kind of cool. He's a great guy. I mean, really.
He is. We used to watch him, you know, Hercules all the time. And then I did a show with, you know, Dean Cain, Superman. And so it's like, because they do all the Christian-based films, which I've been in a couple of them. And it's amazing. He was just an amazing person. I went in, I talked to him, shook his hand. Yeah, take a picture, you know, do whatever. Come on in, sit down. Because he was reading the script. I didn't want to interrupt him. I was reading my script. I just because I see him on TV, the long blonde hair and all these women half naked. I'm going, I got to talk to the guy.
The guy's got something I don't. I'll tell you that, man.
With, you know,
freaking Tarzan or
no,
whatever.
man,
God
he had
almighty,
some guns
man.
on him in that show.
I don't want to even take a chick there when I've got a dad bod, man. Go in there and see Hercules. Well, it might be good, check him out for 3 or 4 hours. Might be a good ending that night. I'm sorry, people, but hey, so I sit here and I sometimes think of all these things that are so typically trite, and I don't know how to. Tell me, when you started doing the acting thing, how was it received by your friends, and did they kind of scoff at you a little bit?
Yeah, negative. It was all negative.
Yeah.
And then when I did the first one, I didn't tell anybody I did the first one because I was just standing there, and I just stood there, and the people, my buddies, going, "What are you going to Springfield?" Because I had to go to Springfield, Mass.
Okay.
I says, I got something to do down there, and it was like a 2.5 hour drive every morning. I would drive back, drive home, drive back, drive home, and then when the movie come out, we're sitting down having beer and chips. I said, "Hey, why don't you guys watch this movie? Let me know if you know anybody." So that one came out, and then the next one came out, and now it's like, "Hey, when are you doing another movie?" So
that's so great.
And I'm going like, I'm not trying to be a big star. If I can be a character actor, that'd be great.
People say that all the time. Oh, I don't look good enough, or I'm not I don't look like Tarzan, for example. But there's all kinds of parts for everybody. I mean,
sure, there's all kinds.
I've done a little bit of it, and I always like playing bad guys because it's just kind of fun. Because even though I might appear to be a bad guy, like in real life, but I'm not. I'm just a goof, man. And I love doing comedic bits.
Oh, sure.
So, especially comedy where you want people to hate you, but they like you through the humor.
Yes.
I mean, I can think of a few shows that I've watched, like the anti-hero thing. Where the guy's like thoroughly dislikable, but you like him because he's funny as hell. And I think of that movie with Christopher Walken and Rocky, where they're two old mobsters and they're dying, and the guy's got the daughter.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
They're all like, "We're going." They drag their friend out of the hospital to steal a car, and they're running amok. That's like every old guy's dream, man.
Yep.
Some dude sitting in a nursing home going, "I fucking hate life. I'm sitting here in this place." I would hope if that was me, some of my buddies would come in there and go, "We're getting you out of here. We're
just bust
going on the lam, man."
Let's go, yeah.
It'd be like Thelma and Louise, but a bunch of people version. I'd like driving in big cars so we can pack the whole band in. And if we're gonna fly off the cliff, man, might as well make the most of it. Got to watch a buck,
Yeah.
No,
But now it's different. They turn around. Now they're little kids. Oh, how do I get my little kids to do a little acting? How do I send them to school? I went to a school, and I drove from New Hampshire to Connecticut every day for 3 hours every weekend for like 3 months. I says, you're going to want to do it. If it's not in your heart and it's not up here.
Yeah. It's hard. I did a similar thing in Florida. I used to drive from Tampa to Orlando every day. I had my studio, I played in a band, and I quit my day job for that 2-year period that I was up there. And I crammed like all of my stuff 4 years into 2. I was hustling. Plus I had 2 kids.
There you go.
I had a crazy Jehovah's Witness wife, and I would like drive from a gig at 2 a.m. because we'd have labs at 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
So there was times it was just really ridiculous. Like my lab partner might have just come from Treasure Island, had this other kid who was like a total goof, rich kid, couldn't do anything. So his dad said, "Well, maybe he can go to Florida for a while and get him out of my hair, Well, he kept failing all the classes, and after a while, you can't fail out.
No.
It's not the kind of school you can go and fake it. Believe me, I had to eat my pride. I was an older guy. I was 30-something years old. Yeah. I had to ask some chick who's 25, 22 to tutor me. I said, "I'm not propositioning. I want you to sit in the hallway with me, and let's get through this algebraic equations as it relates to electronics. Because I'm dying here. And I have a straight grade A average, and I'm just hating life right now. But, it works out. I persevered, and I believe anybody, no matter how old you are out there, don't give up and don't sit around your ass watching TV. Because it's bad. It'll make you stupid. You won't. It'll numb your creativity so bad. I'm like, I go on a media fast or try to, and my girlfriend's like, "You never do. It's the weekend. You're not, don't be watching. You're trying to calm down." It's like a moth to the light, because I love world affairs, and I want to get my big nose involved in the middle of it. But I don't know. So
you got to keep going. I mean, when I took my acting classes, I was 60. And I was
Good-
the
good
oldest
for you.
guy. The next guy closest to me was 38 years old. And they were all looking at me like, what are you doing here? I said, I'm going to do it. And
Hey,
then,
man.
of course, when I graduated with an A, they're going like, look at, you just got to. And I drove. These other people were like driving a half hour. I'm driving 3 hours both ways.
Well, to do anything great takes a lot of effort.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
plateaus get bigger. The better you get as you get older, it's harder to get to the next level because it's so much broader. And people who play golf really well and appreciate the game tell me it's a head cerebral game. I've never played I've gone out with my friends. I roll joints and I get them a beer. I tell jokes. I'm kind of like their host. But they occasionally will go, yeah, Neil, just come on over here. I'm going to let you take and I can drive. It's beginner's luck is all it is. But I have good eye-hand coordination. And so I'll get up and do it. My stance is terrible, but I'll slam that thing way down there. And they're always like, you ought to play. I'm like, I honestly, to spend 2 hours on a golf course walking around banging a ball, I'm a little type A, and it just after a while I'm like, can we just stick to 8 holes? Short attention span on shit like that,
Yeah. No.
By the 18th hole, if you're carrying your shit and you don't have a cart, man, that's brutal.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But I can appreciate the analogy about learning to play grand piano really well, or any instrument for that matter. Do you play any instruments?
No, not anymore. When I was a kid, I took drums, and then when I got out of the military the first time, I took 2 years of saxophone because I love the saxophone, and then I went back in the military, and I just never picked anything up again.
Mandy's an excellent saxophone player, although she doesn't like to play the damn thing. She's a flautist and a singer, so I can understand just from the sheer. I've seen the size of your tenor, man.
Oh yeah, and my
your wind
baritone,
power
it's
must be unbelievable.
Yeah, I do have a lot of wind power.
Well, I know I've heard you sing too. So the thing is, it's I've had some really fine sax players in my band, and I pick it up. It's just it's like one of the few instruments I can't pick up and sound good on, immediately.
Yeah, it's hard to sound good, and that's really what it is.
If you don't know how to finger the scales, you're kind of I can get the lip part, but the worst thing is for me to try to play as a trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it hurts so bad after trying for a half hour to get anything. It sounded like a dying seal,
Oh yeah.
But I don't know.
My teacher, when I was playing with the saxophone, after 6 months or so, he would lean on your stomach, and he'd lean into your stomach while you're playing the saxophone. And I'm going,
oh yeah,
that's the practice what you win. And I'm going okay,
right.
Because I always wanted to walk up and down. Because where I grew up in a nice little neighborhood. I always wanted to play Christmas music door to door on a saxophone. That was my dream. And then I said, I'm going in the military. So the dream changed, and the saxophone's still in the basement. And
well,
hey, it makes a good story. There's a lot of things to talk about. But my friends, when I went in the military, it was the same thing. What are you going in there for? You want to go? So now it's like I'm in the military, and they say, "What did you do?" My son wants to go in. My grandson wants to go in. And I'm going geez, glad I went in. So now I got someone to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a nephew who's in Afghanistan, and had my old girlfriend had her nephew. Unfortunately, got killed over there in Iraq when we were doing that. It was a big deal because it was it was the largest loss of Marines since World War II. It was horrible, and he was just a great kind of a young guy, And I met him twice, and I was like, man, I hope he comes back safe. It's just, and unfortunately, he didn't. So I'm pretty much a peace-loving musician, man. I mean, there's things worth fighting for,
Oh yeah.
And
we're all pretty much peace-loving until you push that wrong button.
Exactly. Be a gentleman. Have some rules.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'm going to remind you of them.
Walk away. If they keep pounding you, hounding you, then you kind of turn around and do what you got to do. But
yeah, I've been lucky. It's been 30 years. Last time I was in a bar, some dumbass wouldn't leave me alone. And I told him 10 ways. The last thing I wanted to do at my gig, I just wanted to hang out, go out back, smoke a bone, have a beer, and go back in and finish our last set and go fucking home.
Yeah.
But no, he just didn't want to let me off stage. So
no.
I'll say this: he learned manners that night.
Yes, he does. They do.
He will never go after somebody smaller than him again because he looked really.
Dynamite
bad.
always comes in small packages. Remember that.
Just think about it. The guy watched me play drums for 2 hours, and I don't know what he was thinking. He had to have noticed that I play pretty freaking hard. It's not the first choice of guys that's pick on in the band, you know?
Yeah.
I whip on shit all day for 4
Yeah,
to 6 hours, you know?
That's the most
I mean,
physical job.
my grip,
yeah.
I can like tear your freaking arm off, you know? And in fact, it's funny because like sometimes my girlfriend and I would just be like horsing around and I like grab her arm or something. We're just having fun. And she's like, easy, you don't know how strong your hand is. And I'm not like trying to manhandle her, I'm just playing around. But that's life, you know? I can't complain because we all, any instrument you play, and you're an actor, if your voice goes, it's fucked. And
Yep.
you're a singer and a sax player.
Oh, that's
so,
even worse. Yeah.
I mean, you're just,
Yeah.
you're out of luck. When you're down, it's down. I know,
Yeah.
because I can't imagine you breathing when you've got a respiratory.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to deflem my saxophone now. It's so grody cleaning out horns.
No,
I've
no,
been
it
around
is.
my
It's-
band players. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I told Kevin, I'm like, that's disgusting, man. He's like,
No,
yeah,
it is.
He goes, it's
Yeah.
really disgusting if I leave it in the case overnight. I was like,
Yeah.
yuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Yeah, you gotta let it dry out. Ugh.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
Well, we're almost done, and it's been a little bit of an unorthodox show, which is cool. I like you, man. You're a fun guest, and I
Thank
hope
you. I like
really
both
hope
of
you
you
do
too.
well.
You're fun people.
Ah, thanks, James.
Well, yeah, we try. You know, we're a pretty nutty team here, and now we have a lot of fun, and that's all it's here for. You know, I don't take it too seriously, obviously, and I have fun, and I think most of the people who watch it have a good time. There's times where I look at a show like from my first year though, and I just go, God, how bad was that? And
Yeah.
I know how you felt in your first audition, even though I've been on
Yep.
stages since I was 7. First show I did here, if you watch it, I am so terrified. I'm sweating. I'm sweating now just because it's warm. But that show, I'm like soaking wet. I'm terrified. And then I had an equipment problem. And my first guest was Warren Zevon's wife, ex-wife, who had written a really scathing tale about how bad of a boy he was.
Okay.
And so she was kind of like a hostile witness. Oh, man, it was really, but it was a great interview because she was snippy with me and said that, I said, I'm going to try and ask you some questions nobody's ever asked you. And, I was going to come out and ask her, what age did you start to ovulate? No, I'm sorry. At any rate, I said to her, that wasn't the question I was going to ask. She's really kind of a tough woman. So I said to her, well, let me think for a minute. I said, when you and Warren got that big chunk from Warner Brothers, the first deal after you sign on the line on 10 contracts and you find out you're giving him your spleen after 5 years and your left kidney in 6. Well, it was like, I'm sorry, I'm losing track of what I was saying. God, I'm sorry.
What did Warren Zevon?
Oh,
and
so
his wife
the answer
do?
to the question was, I said, what was different for you guys? She said we could get on the phone, call any restaurant in Los Angeles, and they'd deliver up here to Topanga Canyon, which is way the fuck up in the hills. And I said, that's really great. And then I said, well, what else did you do? She said, well, what we always did. We'd sit and read to each other and smoke a lot of pot. And we got better pot when we got the $1 million deal.
Oh, wow, yeah. That goes without
But
saying.
it was a
That
good
goes
question.
without saying. Yep.
I was trying because she said what she said that made me think of something probably better than I would have. She goes, well, I've done 200 book interviews and I know I've heard them all. I said, well, you probably have. And that was just a lucky, it's like you got to swing at every strike, man.
Oh,
And
yeah.
got lucky, but I still have to tell you, when I look at that, I can smell the fear pouring off of me through the monitor. I'm like, I don't even want to look at it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
listen.
I look back and remind me of where I came from and what it was like, and then you improve. But I keep looking at that first one where I had my first 10 lines, and it was like,
That's always going to be your first time, man.
That's it.
I'm bummed because I do not have the first recording that I made professionally. We got on an album called Y95 Rock in Tampa, which is they invented the shock jock phenomenon.
okay.
Nice.
These guys were funny as hell. I got to know both of them, Ron and Ron, until they broke up. And, radio eats their young. It's a terrible business. You really do. In fact, I wouldn't do. Howard Stern's the only guy I know who's got a deal worth doing. And I say that because he's got all the control.
Mm-hmm.
And to get that, most shows on regular civilian television kind of suck. You have to get into cable to really do stuff good.
Yeah.
So, hence, if you know any agents looking in LA who work with Amazon, like everybody else, I am looking and trying to get some traction. So, who knows? I'm going to keep your number because now I know you. And
There you go.
I find
I got
I
your
like
number.
hooking people up, you know, get
Yeah.
connections because they come back and hook me up. You know,
Yeah.
it's a small
training
world.
in who you know. It's training in who you know.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And then the last part of that is just fucking do what you say. Show
Yeah.
up a little early.
Yeah.
Be ready to go.
Exactly.
And if
Yep.
you really screw up, just own it and move on.
Move on.
Don't
Yeah.
don't
That's it.
look in the back. If you screw
it.
up, don't stop. If I stopped every time when I realized something slipped out of my mouth, it's just not worth it. In this show, it's rated R. I tell people, look, you're just going to hear some bad words occasionally. We're not going to be running porn or anything. So, you think about the first Howard Stern show.
Oh.
He's asked women questions that I just wouldn't ask them, and that's why
Yeah.
Howard's making $20 billion and I'm slumming it. Well, I'm not really slumming it at all. I've lived very well, but Howard's got a few extra zeros in his monthly check. He's gonna call and take Mandy away because he needs to.
Oh no.
I actually have my Howard Stern wig on. I was gonna wear that today. I forgot. It's Halloween weekend.
That's it.
I've got my Howard Stern wig over there, and I wore it the first time. Actually, I did Frank Zappa. I put on a green screen suit,
Yeah.
and I had a disembodied head here
Oh.
floating, and I had Frank Zappa's console next to me. I was in the room with it. It was so cool, and I wanted to do more with the green screen. I mean, with the green suit. But when you put it on, you feel like you've been stuffed into a cabinet with no air. You like get claustrophobia almost.
Yeah.
I came out of that thing dripping sweat after 2 minutes. We shot 3 takes of it, and it was just so hot. I've never put it on again. It was like my whole body was sticky. Everywhere you don't want to be sticky. It was icky, yuck. But listen, before we go, Mandy, where are you playing next week? This week.
Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow, Butch Cowles in Rahway. That's right.
Yes.
Twisted Ginger. We have our Halloween bash. All right. So dress up as your favorite ginger. Right. I'm dressing up. You dressing up? I'm dressing up.
I might have to be Howard Stern, but
Nice. Nice.
I'll
But
walk in
yeah.
and tell him. I had a guy once thought that my guitar player was Sammy Hagar and that I was what's that asshole's name? 51 Men or whatever it is. Charlie Sheen.
Charlie.
So there's like a table over there. We're going to see the replacements up at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. And my friend doesn't like to drive. He's got bad eyes, so I drove him up there. And this guy finally gets up the courage. I noticed them looking at us funny. And
Yeah.
I was kind of like, they got something on my face or something.
Yeah.
And this guy comes over and he's like, hey, the girls at our table just have to know, are you like Sammy Hagar? And I looked at Jack and I winked at him and he goes, yeah. And they looked at me and then they're like, are you Charlie Sheen? I had really short hair. I don't look anything like Charlie Sheen. But I went, yeah, you want a beer? So we had to do it because those girls over at the table with him, his dates, the 2 guys, were so happy. We signed an autograph for him. They went off telling a story how they
God.
met Charlie Sheen and
Awesome.
what's his face. It was so awesome and fun.
Very nice.
And we had a great time. It was
Very
funny.
nice.
And then on the way home, we get pulled over here on 36, which is north-south to the beach, to the shore. They have a drunk pullover.
Oh,
And
okay.
I pulled down and rolled the window down this far and told them, I'm not drunk at all. I've been working all night. I want to go. I don't consent to anything. I don't even want to talk to you. He goes, get out of here. Just waved us off. My friend Jack was like, oh!
Yeah.
He had a little bit of smoke in his pocket or something.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to remember, there's ways to deal with these things.
Yeah.
Remember, if you haven't committed a crime, even in New Jersey, you do not have to identify yourself. In fact, my standard line is, number 1, I don't answer questions. Number 2, you've already run my plate, man. You know my name.
That's right. You know everything about you.
You've seen my picture, so
Yeah.
you know exactly who I am.
Yeah.
So quit the games. Where are you coming from?
They want
And
you
I've-
to make more mistakes. They want you to make more mistakes. That's
And
what-
yeah,
that's what
well, you know,
it's
it's easy now because
Yeah.
I don't drink. But
Yeah.
back when I used to drink, I'd be
Oh,
terrified.
like when we all used to drink when we were kids. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, shit yeah.
Lucky I'm
And-
alive today with some of this stuff. We wake up on the guardrail, the car's up on the guardrail, and you go, how did I get here? No cops.
Yeah,
You know,
I-
you're on the, you know.
I had a friend of mine once called.
wow.
We owned a little car lot, and it's like 2 a.m. and he can't get a hold of his brother. So who does he call? His half-brother friend. 2 a.m, my wife was pregnant. He calls me and says, I sold him a car. He crashed the car down the road from us. He just like ran into the woods and got stuck like 30 feet in with all these trees and crap. So I then called down to Art's brother and I'm like, you got to get the tow truck, man. I'll meet you up the road. It was right by where our shop was too. We get up there and these two idiot, like they're like Florida man types. Hey, Rick, how you doing, man? You're right. I would end up in jail. Nice to see you, my brother.
Oh, hey, Rick.
Yeah, but at any rate, so we go down there and I'm like freaking out. I don't want to lose it's really hard to get an auto license to sell cars, even just a little shit lot like we
Oh,
have.
sure.
I mean, people think we're like all thieves, man. You can't thieve. It's just not something you do if you want to stay in business. You know, we ran a reputable shop. Only had one person who ever ripped me off. I'm a pretty good judge of character. And then that night, a guy called me and his truck was parked in a parking lot with 4 prostitutes in it. The guy who I'd sold a car to, he wrecked it. His wife paid us off, and I was going to go buy him a new car at auction. So at 2 a.m, the phone rings, and they said, "Are you Neil Van Erdy?" I'm like, "Depends who's asking. What can I do for you?" He said, "Are you one of the owners of Auto Farm?" I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He said, "Well, it shows you're the owner of this big truck." And I'm like, in my head, I loaned this guy my demo. It was this huge Dodge, like 12-cylinder, big, high redneck-looking thing. And the only reason I did it was because he had been a wounded Marine. His wife had always paid the bills off. He suckered me, though. He said, "I need to borrow a car because it's my kid's birthday tomorrow. Can you possibly give us a loaner over the weekend?" And I said, you know, the guys, they paid their bill. They just came and paid me off with the insurance check. I'll do it. That car, when I got it back, I get down there, right? And they got these ladies of the evening in 2 police cars and a guy.
Oh, my God.
And they weren't telling anybody anything. And what I did is I just went up and talked to him. I said, "Where'd you get this car?" And then I called the guy on his cell phone. And I said, "Hi, this is Neil. You borrowed my truck yesterday, and I'm sitting up here at Temple Terrace Boulevard and Bush Boulevard with 3 sketchy-looking broads and some homeboy. Where are you?" And he tells me he's at this hotel down the street, which is, as soon as I heard where he's at, I told him, "I'm going to pull your head out your ass." I was so angry. So I went down, got the truck, had to have my friend come pick me up, drive down there. But when I got in it, it was so disgusting. Between the smell of perfume, whatever they spilled, and then they had poured like liquor in the ashtrays. And it was something like Southern Comfort. So it just smelled annoying. And I was like, any rate, long story. I go over, it was so dirty that I went up to the all-night McDonald's or whatever. There's some fast food place. I'm like, "Can you give me like 6 bags?" I had bags on my hands. I was like, it smelled so bad. It's a big king cab. I had the windows rolled down. And it was great fun. So, any rate, we're going to say goodbye to everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. Yes,
have
Rick.
a good weekend.
Yes.
I
Have
do
a
love
good
Israel.
weekend.
And
Nice to meet you again.
Yes,
okay,
same here.
it's a pleasure, man. Anytime. And hell, I look forward to meeting you. We're all going to have
We'll
to get
set it up.
together.
Hell yeah. We'll set it
Definitely.
up.
Definitely. All right, my friend. Mandy,
All righty.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Talk to you soon.
I'm going to go get my
Bye.
quaff going here.
Woo!
Oh, all right. We're out of here, people. And this is it. And it's just live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.